welcome back for episode 2, Fred and Frank. Everything's kind of rolling on a little bit here, so, you saw the first episode, what we got done. I'm going to continue on the fretboard for Fred, get that finalized. I'm also going to, in this episode, glue up my whole neck blank for Fred. So this way I already have the body pieces. You saw those. I'll have the neck blank done. I'll have the fretboard done. Then I'm going to start working on the actual templates. I've already got the file, so I'm cutting them out of MDF or plywood or something. I'll see what I have. Something in 1/2 inch thickness. So I'm going to get the templates made, and then I am going to probably cut out the body for Fred, at least the core piece of it. I'm going to cut it out first, just the full thickness with no neck pocket or anything like that. And I'm going to have to route out some channels for the wiring that'll be in the core itself before I put that walnut epoxy piece on the top of it. So we'll see if I get any farther than that on this episode, but for sure I should be able to get through all of that and then maybe a little bit more. I think I'm going to get the body and the neck templates. Maybe I'll do some cutting on the neck blanks then. We'll see where it goes. So check it out. So I'm planning a pattern with this stuff. This is this crushed opal. I've got a Fiji color and a confetti color. Kind of ties into some of the epoxy colors that are in the top of this. This is going to be for the test guitar. So I'm going to use this color on this inlay. I'm going to use the purple on this inlay. Then as I move on, I'm going to start adding a little bit of this into the purple, a little bit more, a little bit more. And here, it's going to stay with this color, but adding a little bit of purple, a little more. So it'll just have kind of a blend. And kind of see what that does. I also left the copper slightly high, so when I fill this with the super glue, it could overfill without spilling too far. And then when I flush it, it's not going to be super glue above those. It'll flush to those. So that's why I left those high. Alright, so here's the radius fretboard. As you can see, there's a little bit on the right side there where it's revealing some walnut. The rest of it's purple heart. When you machine it, the purple goes away. It looks like a piece of bubinga right now. I've never done this type of inlay before. I've seen it done. Everyone's seen this a million times. It's just copper tubing, 1/4 inch. You drill a 1/4 inch hole, you put that in, and then you fill it with something. And I had this opal in 2 different colors. So that's what I did for the inlays. For those of you who haven't seen my last series, the effect that I'm going for on the neck here is that it switches in the radius from one wood to the other. So you could see a little bit of walnut on the side here. That's actually kind of off the neck, maybe. Yeah, I don't think once it's cut out you would even see that at all. So I'm going to have to run this pass again. This was a 47-minute tool pass. And just lower my Z so it does the same exact thing, just a little bit lower. If you didn't see that or can't follow, this guy here, let's see if we can get a shot of this neck. It goes, I started out with Wenge and then put Padauk on the top of it. So it machined the Padauk off, leaving the Wenge. So I'll get you another look at this. So you can kind of see how it changes. So on this one, it's going to be less contrast. It'll be a little more subtle, as you can see on the side here where it changes. You can see the two different right there. So it's going to go from Purple Heart to Walnut. After you leave it in the sun, get it back to purple, you notice it a little bit more than that, but let's see how it works. The other thing I'm doing a little bit different is it's gonna end up being left-handed for tightening on this. Normally you mount the adjuster lower in there. I'm having it come through the 22nd fret. If I would put it the lower way, the amount, it's that much under the fretboard. But if I mount it this way, I'm not touching yet, I'm gonna have to recess a little bit in the back here, but then it'll stick partially through, and I think it'll just be a lot nicer. You just gotta know that it's backwards. So I'm gonna figure out some way, maybe on a control cavity cover on the inside, I'll do something to label that so people don't have to just figure it out, like going, the fuck's wrong with this thing? And then for some reason it's backwards, but that's why it's backwards. So while I got this all set up like this, got the bushing in there, where it's got to get widened out, normally you just do with a chisel, but I'm already automatically centered here, so I just put a bigger bit in. I went to 3/8 for the section so I can get this part of the wheel in, and then once I get that groove, then I'll go with a 1/2 bit and get a spot for that, and that's going to have to be deeper. So that's what I'm doing. I told you the CNC was mainly going to be just for the fretboard on both guitars and for making templates. So I made two separate templates. This one right here, I have a center line on there, so if it's going to be something with a book match top, you could line it up. This one would cut all the way through the whole thickness of the body. And I also made this one. I didn't put a center line because this you would match it exactly onto the cut out body and then just cut the neck pocket to the proper depth. So the whole outside is just for lineup, and all you use it for is right here. So I've got those going. Because this particular one, I'm going to be using that eaten up walnut epoxy top, and this river is the bottom. This is going to be the back. So I put it upside down and trace it out. So from the back, you can see the pencil on there. That's what you're going to see. I was able to get that knot in there. The river, you can see where the neck's going to be. It's, you know, here's the access, so it's going to be somewhere in this section, so the river passes it. On the top, some of that river is going to be in there, so part of the glue joint will be to epoxy, so that'll be a good test. Like I said, this is an experimental one. So I could start getting this cut out. I'm going to rough it out with a bandsaw first, mount this to that, and route it up. Got tape on here, so I'm ready to, you know, super glue the thing together. In order so I could see the line well, I don't want this excess on here. And I saw this technique before and I thought it was a really good idea. You just sand down. Oh, let's make a shape. I had 5 stripes of tape and super glue mounting these two together to make sure nothing would move. And I figured it'd be a little hard to get off. And I'm going to have to get a screwdriver and pry in there. And I figured it'd probably ding it up a little bit. So I purposely went right here. And you can see there is some dings. Because right here is on the high E side. This is upside down right now. There's going to be, you know, a bevel. It's going to be beveled off in this direction and this direction anyway. So I figured that's a spot that I know isn't going to be flat. So do it there. You know? Figure out what you're going to ding and ding a part that's getting taken out anyway. Alright, so I got my templates made. I started marking it up. So I went here. I got a center line on the template that I put in with a V-bit. So I can line that right up with my center stripe. I had to figure out where the nut line's going to be because when I put the truss rod in, I have to be able to get it from here. So that's going to show where the nut exactly has to be. While these are still straight, I want to cut my extra material out of the back of the neck where I used this template. So when I was gluing this up with the epoxy, some of my Bubinga stripes moved a little up and down. One went up, one went down. So the overall thickness, by the time I got it looking good, was under by about 0.1. So where the actual most protruding part of the volute is comes just past it. I mean, I'm not lining it up perfect, but it comes past it. So first I'm thinking no big deal, the volute's going to be a little bit smaller. And then I was thinking, little mistake, design feature. So the way I normally shape the volute is the part that protrudes the most is in the center. And it doesn't stick out full for the whole width. So I've got these two Bubinga stripes here about that wide. I'm going to take a piece of Bubinga, and I'm going to glue it right there. Then once I cut this off, there's barely going to be any that's needed there. I'm not sure the thickness. This is just a cutoff that was in my box of million cutoffs. So that's the size it gets. And then I'll have something to work with. And then I can shape the volute so these two stripes come, and at the tip, they get connected. I'll just make sure that it's sized to work when I shape it. I really like it when things go just a little bit wrong because they make it more right. Well, looks like a good time to wrap up another one here. I got exactly done what I said I was going to do in the beginning. So you saw how the inlays worked in the fretboard. You saw how the truss rod access is going to be inside of the fretboard. I got the neck blank for Fred also done. I got my body templates made. I cut out the body for Fred. All things that I was going to do. I even got the top onto the core of the body. I had to get the channels in for the wires to connect the pickups together, connect the bridge pickup over to the control cavity. So those had to get there. I got the walnut on there. That's not, flushed off yet, but that's glued together. And then I got the neck templates done and kind of showed you that little volute thing, which I'm really excited how that's going to turn out. I think that piece of Bubinga, it's going to end up just being a bridge between the two stripes of Bubinga, and I think that's going to be like a really cool thing. I've never seen something like that before, so That's what I like doing. Things I haven't seen before. So, yeah. So, thanks for watching again, and look out for episode 3 coming soon.